This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a fly ball to deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Adolis Garcia swings on the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall. And the legend grows. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season.
Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live as we're getting you ready for the final game of the four-game set against the New York Yankees. Get a win today. You split the two-game set off to Baltimore because obviously this is not an easy part of the schedule. Wouldn't you say, Commander? It's going to be good to get these guys, get the Orioles, get all these guys off. I'm not playing the schedule game, but I will a little bit. It's nice to get them off the schedule. Like, don't have to do this again. You're going to still have to go to Toronto, still going to have to go to Tampa, still going to have to go to Boston. But this kind of gets rid of, can you get your water out of the shot?
Yes, because we don't play the
I hope Delaire's watching. Delaire's going to be like, wait, you going to have your water in the shot?
We don't play the Yankees again until September, like the last homestand.
But the fact that we get these guys out of the way and we get this road trip out of the way, it really plays for what will happen towards summer and the end of season, as we're all looking at the win total as a big deal for the Athletics, including me for a steak dinner bet.
Well, a good host always brings it back to themselves.
There you go. A little A's news, but I'm excited to play for you Mason Miller today, MLB Central, MLB Network. I know a lot of you don't have it, you don't watch it, because you don't have cable, but we have Mason Miller for you today on MLB Central, which is the morning show on MLB Network. It's a big deal. It put Brent Rooker on the map last year, and no question, Mason Miller is being put on the map, the baseball map, by what he did in Game 1 on Monday against the Yankees, and now putting him on MLB Network on their morning show, which, by the way, everybody in baseball watches. So what Mason Miller did today, and we're going to play for you, and I'm going to play the whole thing. I know we were going to cut it up, but I went, you know what? Let's play the whole thing. So you can hear and see what you're just going to have the audio, right?
Correct, yes.
So
the full 18 minutes that he was on MLB Network is on our YouTube page at youtube.com/athletics.
Go check it out. Subscribe, hit like, subscribe, hit like. You're going to hear a lot of it, and we want you to hear it. Before we have Stephen Nesbitt, who wrote the article about how did this phenom guy completely come out of nowhere, right? Well, there's a big deal here. It's that he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and it changed his life, because in no way would he have ever thought as a young athletic guy that he had diabetes. And getting it under control, a disease that you can't, your pancreas has stopped making insulin. And close and near dear to my heart because it happened to my daughter. And it's very, 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 it's a dramatic thing because this is something that you're going to deal with for the rest of your life. And it changed my daughter's life. It changed their quality of life once you get the diagnosis and you learn how to treat it. It's just like your quality of life just gets so much better. And it's scary at first and it's really hard. But Mason Miller got his life back. Immediately started gaining weight, velocity. There's a funny story. They didn't even have a radar gun. They just knew this guy's throwing really hard. And now he's thrown more pitches at 101 than anybody else in baseball. and combined more than anybody else in baseball. So we want to play that for you before we have Stephen Nesbitt on, who did the article in The Athletic at 1:30. A really good get by you, my friend.
Thank you.
Very good get. The great Brian Sabean. I do say the great Brian Sabean. You know, it's basically around 30 years that guy was running the San Francisco Giants and had extreme success. Just not the 3 World Series titles. But when I first started working at KNBR and I was starting my career, Brian Sabean came in from the Yankees to take over the Giants. So I lived that 97 all the way through the start of Pac-Bell Park through, World Series in 02, bunch of playoffs. A's were going to the playoffs at the same time. Brian Sabean is going into the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame, and it's a who's class. John Taylor, great wide receiver for the 49ers. He went through 3 Super Bowls? Because he wasn't on the first one. He was too young. I think he was on 3 Super Bowl. Buster Posey is going in. He's a future Baseball Hall of Famer. Patrick Marlowe from the Sharks. It's a great class going in.
Patrick Willis.
Patrick Willis, who's going to be an NFL Hall of Famer, one of the great linebackers of all time. The Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame, like when you look to see everybody that's in it, it's unbelievable. The names are just unbelievable. So Brian Sabean is going into the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. We're going to have Sabes on from New York before he is heading over to Yankee Stadium. He's now working with the Yankees once again for Brian Cashman. Lot of respect for Brian Sabean. I can tell you we've taped the interview. I will ask him about Billy Beane and about that time where we had it really good in Bay Area baseball. It will never be the same. I don't think, people are going to talk about it because obviously everybody's going to focus on the NFL draft, and they should. But we had it really good. There was a time, late 90s, in the 2000s, we had it really, really good. It was a great time. Unfortunately for September 11th, but I think of I was getting married. My career was getting rolling. We had it so good here in the Bay Area. A's were good. Giants were good. I went to 2 playoff games in one day, whatever year that was. I remember rapping with Harold Reynolds at Pac-Bell Park. It was Giants and the Mets it was the first game, and later that night, went over, Bart over, and went Yankees-A's. 2 playoff games in one day. Man, how good we had it. Moneyball was happening right in front of our eyes. The A's got MVPs and Giambi and Tejada, great players. Giants, they got Bonds, they got Kent, they got great teams. Now, everybody's going to think about when the Giants won the World Series, but when you talk Bay Area baseball years from now, I wonder if anybody is ever really going to go back and talk about what was going on in our hood, in our backyard. We had playoff baseball teams together. 2-team markets normally don't have that. You've had a little of it in New York. You've never had it in Los Angeles. You've never had the Dodgers and the Angels go to the playoffs at the same time.
Well, the Angels haven't made it a lot late recently, but yeah, no, I'm just trying to think like when the Angels won the World Series.
I don't even know if that's ever happened.
Well, the Angels won.
Pardon my ignorance on L.A. and Orange County baseball. I don't think the Dodgers and the Angels have ever been to the playoffs at the same time.
I'm looking right now. I was thinking of 2014 because I was here. The Angels won the AL West. Let's see. It was because the Dodgers won the division how many times now?
How many times is it?
Yeah, 2014. Dodgers and Angels both.
So once.
I'm going off the most recent one.
It's not a lot. How about Chicago? How about the
Well, the White Sox only made it 11 times in their franchise history.
And the Cubs have only made it like 20-something times.
Yeah. I don't think it's the last time.
It is so the point is it's very rare that 2 teams in the same market play in the postseason And it seemed like we had it all the time in the early 2000s. It was awesome. Here, let's look it up. You go Giants, I'll go A's. We were rolling through the postseason, boy.
All right, hold on.
And it was a great time. Are you ready? I'm ready. You ready?
All right.
And it shows you how good the eras were of Brian Sabean and Billy Beane.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yes. What year we'll start with?
We're going to start with 2000.
Giants lost in the NLDS.
So A's were in the postseason in 2000. A's were in the postseason in 2001.
Giants were not.
2002.
Lost in the World Series.
Okay, so that's 2 years. We had both teams in the playoffs. 2003.
Lost in the NLDS.
So that's 3 years. Okay, and then no 04, no 05. How about 2006?
Giants didn't make it again until 2010.
All right, so we had 3 years. Maybe I oversold it a little bit, but it seemed like a lot. But they were really competitive. I mean, think about this time. You got Bonds, you got Kent. Bonds is winning every MVP, and if he didn't, Kent won it the 1 year. You got the A's. It was a great time. And I hate to bring this up, but I looked it up today. A's will be playing in a different city in 336 days. 336 days from now. Opening day, I don't know. We don't know where. If it'll be in Sacramento or on the road. But March 27th is opening day next year. 336 days. The Bay Area will be a one-team market. The Bay Area used to have 2 NFL teams. Used to have 2 Major League Baseball teams. It's going to be down to 1 football, 1 baseball, 1 hockey, 1 NBA. Big markets have 2 teams. Bay Area is going to be down to 4. That's a quick change, man. So when I think about Brian Sabean coming on today, I think it's really cool that Sabean's going to come on. And I know he's Giants, but I used to deal with Brian Sabean. I have a lot of respect for him. We've had Bobby Evans on for years. I have a lot of respect for Bobby. Ned Colletti, who was with Brian in that early part of their careers before he went to the Dodgers. You know, we've had Ned on this program. Now, Scout, is he still?
I don't know if he's still with the Sharks now.
But he
was recently.
He would leave the Giants to run the Dodgers. I know he still does television around the Dodgers. A lot of respect. So a very good get for you, my friend. Brian Sabean is going to join us on the program, new member of the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. And then Shooty Babitt's going to be by. I don't even know how to introduce Shooty Babitt. Best dress, best scout. The great Shooty Babitt, who will be on A's Pre- and Postgame Live later on tonight, will join us here. Big news today out of A's and out of New York. Zack Gelof has gone on the IL. Darrell Hernandez has been brought back. What do you got?
10-day injured list, retroactive to April 24th for Gelof with a strained left oblique. Darrell Hernandez is up from AAA. That was announced earlier today. So Hernandez in the lineup today, playing third.
Well, here's the deal. That can be a lingering injury, but certain injuries, you kind of go, okay, that's rest. Rest, you will be okay, right? I think we are so now conditioned to, oh my God, UCL, you're going to be out for well over a year. Kind of like knee injuries in football. Up, ACL, MCL, oh my God, knee surgery, rehab, he's out for a long time. You don't know. So now when I hear hamstring, oblique, these types of things, it's like, okay, you're going to survive. You're not going to go through surgery. You're going to be okay. He's going to be okay. It's all right. I mean, you're dealing with human beings. Human beings get hurt. You play sports, you will get hurt. That's just a fact. I mean, I've had to tell that to so many of my buddies wives when their kids have gotten hurt. I'm like, hey, little Johnny's going to get hurt. It's okay. I remember when my best friend's son broke his hand playing football this year for Willow Glen, and everybody's freaking out. And I had to say, listen, broken bones heal. They're going to put a cast on it. He's going to be fine. Like, he broke his hand. I'm like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Broken bone. And I learned this from Dr. King with the Raiders. Like, broken bones, they heal. It's when you start blowing out your UCL, or you blow out your knee, or you blow. I mean, that's the stuff that's scary. Spinal injuries. That's not something you normally see in baseball, but like Brandon McCarthy taking one off the dome. Chris Bassett taking one off the face. There's some scary injuries in baseball. Obliques not. So, okay. Hernandez, here you go. And remember, we talked to Fran Reardon about what it's like to bring these guys down, and obviously they're upset. Our guy, Ruiz, was upset. He should be. You should be. You're in the big leagues. You got to go back to AAA. You should be upset. But what are you going to do about it? Well, let's see what Hernandez has got. He's in the lineup. You're playing third today. Who's playing first?
Abraham Toro at first today.
Wow. Didn't have that on the bingo card this year. Did you have that on the bingo card?
I did not.
Abraham Toro, first baseman.
Do you want the full? I can give you the full lineup real quick. Let me just, so I can list it off for everyone.
We've actually done a deep dive on the offense, folks, and it has not been good for quite a while.
Quite a while, yes.
Quite a while. Like with their, like right now, you're averaging 10 strikeouts. I didn't want to get into this, but all right, go ahead. Give me the lineup.
All right, Esty leading off, playing left field.
All right.
Tyler Nevin, arguably the best hitter in the lineup. Right
Tyler Nevin, by the way,
he is.
Tyler Nevin has earned the right. Tyler Nevin has earned the right for Mark Kotze every day to go, you're in the lineup. He's earned that right. He's come in. I mean, there was a point where I'm like, what are we doing here? I'm wrong. I am as of right now, I am 100% wrong. Tyler Nevin deserves, on this team, Tyler Nevin deserves to play every day. I'll wear it. And like I say all the time, I want to be wrong. I'm not the kind of person that's going to fight to be right and always try and figure out, no, I'm wrong. Put him in the lineup every day. I wish everybody proved me wrong. That means we'd win way more games. And oh, by the way, I know this sounds stupid. This really sounds stupid. So, as you guys may know, I have a routine at night. And I work out at night. And then what I do is when I'm done, I sit in my backyard when it's nice. When it's not nice, I'm inside. I watch Quick Pitch. I watch it every night. I tape a bunch of MLB Network shows. I'm watching last night Seattle and Texas. I love watching Julio Rodriguez play, by the way.
Finally, his first home run the other day.
Yeah. I mean, he's a treat. But I was looking at it last night, watching Texas, Seattle highlights. You realize everybody is still in the division. And I know it sounds stupid, but as bad as the A's at 19-16, they're now only 4 games back. Like, you win a couple games, Texas and Seattle loses a couple games, you're right in this thing. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe how bad Houston is. Houston, which by the way, Houston being 7-18 is just glorious. I can't help it.
I didn't have them being that bad on my bingo card.
I can't help it. I just love it. It's like one of the greatest things ever. It's like the gift of the year. Houston's only 6 games back. They're so bad. They're 7-18, and they're only 6 games back. I mean, anybody gets on a little bit of a winning streak, you're right in. You're right in it. So normally I'm like, Townsend, it's just ridiculous for you to talk about standings. But the reality has been, as bad as we've been, we're right there. The Angels are 10-15. They're only 3 back. This division may be bad and everybody kind of runs together for the year. Could be. Someone may separate, but they're not doing it right now. First 25 games. I know it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, here's a couple things real quick, too. Rangers, Corey Seager left the game yesterday after getting hit by a pitch, but Scherzer's pitched to AAA last night. Didn't go very deep. J.P. Crawford was just put on the injured list for the Mariners. I think he has an oblique injury as well. Angels, well, they're the Angels. I'm not expecting much. But the Astros are getting back Framber Valdez this weekend. They didn't say who's coming out of
They've
the
lost
rotation.
4 in a row. They're 7-18.
It's not the offense. It's their pitching is second. They had the third worst ERA in baseball, behind only the White Sox and Rockies.
They're 7-18.
So there's.
Oh, I love it, and it just fries you as a closet Astro. You were just an Astro. Oh, Luno, tear it down. They're so smart. How smart are they now at 7-18?
I still think they'll make a run for the division.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It's
how much? How you ready for your first bet of the year?
No, I just.
Oh, okay.
It's just a gut. I mean, they've been the
it's a gut feeling.
ALCS 7 years.
Back
in a
of
row.
the baseball card. It's a gut feeling.
Yeah, the back of the baseball card for the
You
Astros.
lame. By the way, I want everybody to check this out. Do you see what I'm sporting today? I don't think a lot of people have ever seen this.
Oh, the 2020 season, 2020 postseason hat.
Because nobody was allowed at the ballpark, right? Like when we used to give out these hats and stuff like that, like everybody be wearing it, but no one was at the park. These hats literally were just at our Jack London offices, right? Which basically had nobody in it because of COVID. I don't even remember how I got this hat. I think somebody sent it to me because we weren't allowed to go to the offices. I think someone mailed it to me.
Probably that's what they do with a lot of this stuff.
So check it out. It's the 2020 playoff hat. I bet most people haven't seen this hat.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are parading around with that one.
We're in purge mode here in the old Townsend household, spring cleaning. So I've been busting out like this. This was a gift for opening day, wasn't it?
Might have been before I joined. I don't remember having that one.
It was a gift for opening day that we got as employees. So I'm busting out some old stuff. I like it, but the hat's dope. I don't think I've ever worn this hat on the show. It reminds me of winning the division, taking down the White Sox, and then one of the most ridiculous series of all time at Dodger Stadium with the juice ball. All right, Mason Miller. Before we get into the article about Mason Miller in The Athletic, Mason Miller was in Secaucus, New Jersey today and doing his rounds, MLB Network, MLB Central. You get on with D-Row because what happens is when you do this in the morning, like everything that we do, like we get a great guest, we'll take it. I'll then replay it in the pregame. I'll then do it in game. I mean, you recycle your good content. So when you go on with Mark DeRosa and the group, they'll play this throughout the day on MLB Network. And folks, in every single clubhouse, you want to know why Brent Rooker's an all-star? Brent Rooker goes on with D-Row, and they chopped this up and played it constantly on MLB Network. So remember, inside the clubhouses now, the days of ESPN being on are gone. All you see on the televisions in the clubhouse is MLB Network. So everywhere our players and all the other 29 teams, their players go, MLB Network is playing. And they played Rooker and D-Row everywhere. I'd never seen D-Row fell in love with Rook. Remember, that hot start and them playing the video, like you might not have seen it because you don't have cable and you don't see MLB Network, but they took that Rooker content and played it over and over and over again. So that means it was played constantly in the clubhouses. How did Brent Rooker make the All-Star team? Do you remember?
The players voted him in.
The players voted him in. Brent Rooker, the 2 months leading up to the All-Star game, hit under 200 both months. He hit under 200 for 2 straight months leading up to the All-Star game. I was absolutely shocked he was our all-star. But then we found out it was the play. You got Ruiz leading the American League in stolen bases, who was the natural, put him on the all-star team, and it was Rooker. I was like, well, how's this possible? Because the players voted for him. Why? Because the players sit in their lockers and they look up and they see Rooker constantly on the screen. Rooker was constantly on MLB Network for a span of about a week. You don't think everybody saw him? When you go into the gym areas of the clubhouses, all the televisions, they're on MLB Network. They're not on anything else. So these players all kept seeing this guy. They probably never, some people maybe knew him, played against him a little bit, but Rooker was constantly on a loop on MLB Network, and that got him on the All-Star team. So this is a big deal, Mason Miller, because they're going to take this and show this all over. Here's Mason Miller earlier today on MLB Central.
But for our audience, it's one of overcoming adversity, and it started, we were reading, story is incredible, and I know you've told it before, but for our audience, it's one of overcoming adversity, and it started, we were reading the Athletic article on you, started with a drug test. Can you take us back?
Yeah, absolutely. It was 2018. I was planning to do a summer internship. I had to take a drug test to, last step to get in there. But I took the drug test. They thought that, I was trying to dilute my sample, and so they tested it. Further testing showed my blood sugar was off the charts. So they sent me to the ER. I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and that was in April of 2018. So we just passed 6 years actually since then.
Did you have any idea, fatigue? Were there any signs along the way?
Yeah, I had a lot of symptoms, honestly. And, I'd done the whole, type it into Google, see what you have. And it said diabetes.
Google,
and
really?
It said diabetes, and I was like, that can't be me,
Right.
20 years old. I'm an athlete. I was losing a little bit of weight, but I didn't feel, totally unhealthy, comparatively.
But you had mentioned that, and your coaches is also, they were getting on you because you couldn't keep weight. You were having trouble getting gains in the weight room. So they just thought maybe you were doing something wrong or maybe not giving it your full effort. So that was part of the symptom. And then describe to us once you get diagnosed and you get other medication, what were the gains like both on the mound, in the weight room, everything?
Yeah, I put on, 15 pounds in 3 days in the hospital. I wasn't even doing anything. I was just, I'd lost so much weight that just putting on the fluids and the nutrients from the food,
Really?
I came back that fast. And then just after that, it's just been steady kind of gain. The velos kind of just followed along with the weight. So
the velos just jumped up. Last year you're looking at, 98, 90, 97, 98?
Yeah, I think I touched 102 last year.
Last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
but I was working more like 98.
but you're more consistent
98,
with the 100 now.
Yeah. From the bullpen, it's definitely played up.
Talk to me about, because you scrapped your cutter, just going 2 pitches out of the bull. Do you have visions of wanting to get back into rotation? Or
Sure. I think all pitchers really
want to start.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something real cool happening.
I think if you're on the other end of, you're pitching in the back end, I think there's an argument that could be made. And I'm definitely enjoying the role I'm in now, and focuses entirely on this season. So, the future, we'll see what it holds. But yeah.
You were playing at the Division III level, and then you transferred to Gardner-Webb. Do I have that right?
You do.
I was wondering if you could describe to us the feeling that you felt when you touched 98, 99, because you were living 88, 89 at the D3 level, right?
Yeah.
So what was that moment like when you see the radar gun and pops up 98, 96? What was that moment like?
Well, we didn't even have a radar gun at Williamsburg, so I really had no idea what I was throwing. But once I got to Gardner-Webb, I had a lot of coaches, scouts around that were, hey, you're running it up there a little bit. So it's just a little bit of a shock to me to just see it continue to go up. And, it's honestly just, I feel like a testament to the hard work I've done too. Mm-hmm. So it felt very rewarding to be able to see that and, quantitative.
I was looking at your first pitch percentage as far as going from last year to this year. It's like, 20% higher. It's like 72%. And then you look at the swing rate, and they're actually hacking too. There's look, I get 3 chances to hit this.
Yeah.
I better start hacking. Yeah. So what goes into your mindset of making sure you throw strikes because you have it, and you have to exploit these guys and knowing that, I throw hard, but I don't think he hit.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing you can do is be in the zone, whether you're a starter, middle relief, closer, whatever you are.
But you have to locate.
Less guys you're putting on base, the better. You want a guy to beat you with the bat. You don't want to beat yourself and put him on base. So yeah, it's just kind of the mentality I've had, and coming in and facing 3 guys for 3 outs, or just trying to get those last outs of the game. I definitely don't want to have somebody on the base.
Talk me through your mentality, having to come in and get the 3 outs as opposed to. I think your debut was against the Cubs, if I'm not mistaken. Take me through like the starter mindset and the closer mindset.
I think you always have to have the dog, and you want to go get the guy out. But it's just a little different when even just subconsciously you're going 5, 6 innings. Yeah. So you're going to see a guy twice. You might be setting him up for his second at bat, his third at bat.
This is your debut. What do you recall about this moment?
Nervous.
I was nervous for sure. Yeah, it happened fast. I had made 2 starts in the minor leagues so far before the debut. So, that one got up to me pretty fast.
I was watching that. I was doing the Cubs game, and I was like, "Who is this dude right here?"
Freak.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see what they're saying there. Who is this guy? That's still, to us, it seems. We have Steven who's ready to rock. Yeah, Steven, it's so interesting that Mason Miller goes on MLB Network today, and it's like pitching at Yankee Stadium a couple days ago, blowing everybody away. Now going to Secaucus, New Jersey in their studios. Now everybody in baseball will have an idea. They'll read your article. They'll have an idea. We've known now for a while, right? He's been ours. He's our 3rd-round pick. He's been one of our top prospects. But it's like this week, the world is finally learning about this unbelievable story and a breathtaking right arm.
Yeah, I sort of thought that sort of the tipping point where people would learn about Mason Miller was going to happen last spring. That's when I sort of learned about him as someone not so focused on the A's farm system. So I had a slight background with not him, but his school, his high school, Bethel Park. I worked in Pittsburgh. I was there for 10 years. I never covered Mason Miller. I guess I probably left at just the wrong time to not line up with him. But when I had a chance to talk with him this spring, a lot of overlapping things that I know that he knows. And so it was a lot of fun to catch up with him. And he's a guy who, seeing how things went last year, I was just super curious to hear what his approach was going to be. In the closer's role, the A's seem to be saying there's no reason for us to use really kid gloves. We think he can handle, a decent workload, but we just don't think the starting pitching is, at least at this point, the right move. It's just probably adding too much risk to what he's got going on. And so it's nice to see that he's being allowed to air things out. He might not be going on back-to-back days right now, but it doesn't appear that he has, handcuffs on at this point. So, yeah, the world's finding out that this guy who can touch 103 pretty regularly is a special talent in Oakland.
The diagnosis for type 1 diabetes is a dramatic thing for everybody. My daughter is a type 1, and I'll never forget, she wasn't feeling well. They were getting ready. Both my twins were actresses at the time. They were getting ready for a performance. I had to go pick up my daughter. She wasn't feeling well. When I picked her up, she was completely just white, just like white, like a ghost. By the time we got out to the car, not to be graphic, she vomited up her food. Things were not good. She was urinating a lot. And I remember we took her to the pediatrician, and I was actually doing a show up in Oakland at our offices, and I got the 911 text from my wife, and we got off the air, and I immediately got off the air and went, "What's going on?" And that's my wife was crying, and she's like, "Oh my God, we're on our way to the ER." Kind of like Mason Miller takes a drug test. Something's wrong. Your blood sugar is crazy. My daughter's was crazy. And what do? Immediately go to the emergency room. It's a dramatic diagnosis to learn when a healthy young child or a healthy young athlete, or you think is healthy, is all of a sudden being diagnosed. It's dramatic, and it changes your life. It ends up changing your life for good because you can start managing it. But boy, like for Mason Miller, you can't even imagine how dramatic that was.
Yeah. No, talking to him, I think he understands how interesting it is, how important it was for his baseball journey that diagnosis happened and happened when it did. And, I didn't set out to write the story around the diagnosis. It's been written a number of times and written well. However, timing is everything in a lot of cases. A lot of people are learning about that particular part of his story because I wrote it and Susan Slusser wrote about it recently as well, because people are just really tuned into who Mason Miller is right now when he's pumping 103 past Juan Soto. And so I wasn't going to really focus on that. But then when I'm talking to him, it was so clear there's this direct line from that day, the diagnosis, and who he is today, and the pitcher he is today. Without that diagnosis happening, he doesn't probably stick with baseball. If he's still trying to figure out his health, if he's throwing 88 instead of low 90s, he needed a lot of things to go right, even from after that diagnosis, for him to become the guy he is today. He was, he was going into junior year of college throwing 92, and today he's throwing 102, 103. So it was an incredibly important thing, not just, of course, for his baseball career, but for him to get right, health from a health perspective, because he had lost a ton of weight, was down to 150 pounds. You've been beside him; he's a huge kid, a big
Yeah.
strapping kid. But to imagine him at 150, 160 pounds, that's a very different type of thing. And so it's the questions about health for him have all been, well, different parts of his arm hold up, and the bigger question was answered at 18 or whatever it was, when he was able to get that diagnosis and get treated, because that, of course, was going to impact everything else in his life.
Isn't it hard to believe that here you have this guy that has this unbelievable gift, but now for a while has just been trying to figure out, how do I stay healthy physically, mentally, to deal with the fact that I have diabetes, to deal with the fact that I can't stay healthy as a starting pitcher. He's had a lot put on his plate at a very young age.
He has, and that's what's going to be interesting watching here with the A's, because clearly they are. Mark Kotze told me when I was talking to him for this story was we do think that because of the diagnosis, we probably need to be more careful about his recovery than some other guy. Also, you don't have a lot of guys throwing 103, so how do we think about a guy who can do that? The type of recovery he needs between outings. I think they made a smart move, not trying. You see so many teams try to really belabor the decision between bullpen and rotation. And imagine if they were just having him start and throw 4 innings a pop in the minors right now. Is that really doing him any good? Is it doing the team any good? At least they've picked a lane at this point, and he's a guy who I think would love to start down the road. But who knows? If you have a ton of success in the closing role at this still very young age and you stay healthy, you could absolutely see a guy like that deciding this is the right place for me to be. I don't need to stretch things out, because once you sort of find a secret sauce where he can stay healthy for a while, and you're not seeing injuries that aren't just elbow injuries, but are different parts of the back and the shoulder and all sorts of things. I think he would be pretty content in the position he's in if he can stay healthy.
And a lot of people don't understand that Mason Miller has to manage his blood sugar levels at all times. And I remember Sam Fold, who's now the general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, went to Stanford, but Sam Fold played for us, the A's. He was a type 1 diabetic. And Bob Melvin's daughter is a type 1 diabetic. So Bob Melvin, during games, could look at Sam Fold and start to see if Sam was going low. Like there was like a special relationship between Bob and Sam. I mean, this is something that you need to manage. So we talk about how you manage your health during a game and how guys stay healthy and everything. Mason Miller's having to do something the other 25 guys don't have to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, for as late as he got the diagnosis, a lot of people get it when they're much younger and are able to figure it out. But it has become, I think, it's just extremely normal. It's part of his everyday life. He said before he eats, before he goes to bed, he's getting insulin. He's got a monitor he wears on sort of his abdomen that he showed me, and he's learned how to treat it. But yeah, certainly there are going to be days where you are thinking about a lot of things that the air quotes normal person, someone who isn't diabetic, doesn't have to think about these things. There's a lot more on your mind, and so that's all part of learning what's going to work for him at the major league level. I think, and how to stay on the field is learning how to handle good days and bad days from that perspective.
Yeah, it's called life. Like yourself, you got to pick up your kids coming up here, right?
That's right. I'm outside of the daycare right now.
Well, let's end on this. I think these articles are important because, yes, we want to put Mason Miller's gifts out there and let everybody know. But it's these stories that we get to read that we understand that these athletes are a lot like us, right? That normalizes them. Oh, my God, because right now everybody's like, this guy's a freak. He's throwing at 102, 103. But there is a backstory, and I think your story will teach a lot of people about who Mason Miller really is as a person more than just a guy that can throw the ball hard.
Yeah, thank you. I hope so. I love writing the back. I'm sort of obsessed with backstory. I always want to know what happened first, and you can learn so much from a Wikipedia page, but so often I just want to hear it from the person and figure out what details are missing and how can you maybe weave together themes and tie some loose ends together. And so it's a blast. He was a lot of fun to talk to this spring and follow up with afterward, and we'll see where things go. But as long as he's healthy, I think he's going to be an absolute force.
Great stuff. We appreciate the time. You be well.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a very good article talking about Mason Miller, and I had to just take a picture of this graphic that they put up on MLB Network. I will be using this at some point in the pregame show. Pitches that are 101, not 100, 101. Now, I think there was a time, you could call it a juice gun or not, I hit 90, and I thought that was a big deal. Right? Little old me, I hit 90. I can say there's been a reading on a radar gun. I threw it, and it said 90. I thought it was a big deal. This is 101. 101. He has thrown the baseball this season 42 times at 101 or more. I got hit. Two guys hit me throwing 90s. One is that son of a John Lynch for the, you know him as a Pro Football Hall of Famer, and he'll be drafting somebody tonight. If I ever run into John Lynch, we're going to have a beef. John Lynch drilled me in Palomino. He was a senior. I was a junior. He was going into his senior year. I was going into my junior year. He went to Torrey Pines High School. Obviously, John Lynch was going to Stanford, but he was going to Stanford as a quarterback, if you remember. He was supposed to be the next John Elway. Do you know that whole story about John Lynch?
I just know he threw out the first pitch in Marlins.
No, he threw the first. He didn't throw out. He
threw the first pitch. I knew he went to Stanford. But
first pitch ever thrown by a Marlins pitcher was John Lynch in AA. So John Lynch is an all-world quarterback at Torrey Pines High School. His father was well-to-do. His father owned the sports radio station down there, so they were well-known in sports down there, the Lynch family. And John Lynch goes to Stanford to be the next Elway, and it's just not working out. And then but he was a real physical guy. And Lynch started playing a little defense, and Lynch was just going to focus on his career baseball because he's drafted by the Marlins. And it was Bill Walsh who said, hey, man, you need to come back to football. You can be the next Ronnie Lott. Had Ronnie Lott talk to him, and then the rest is history. And John Lynch had a massive senior year, drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and ended up being one of the – couldn't play today. John Lynch couldn't play in the NFL today. Ronnie Lott, those guys, that style of play is gone. But when you talk about one of the great hard-hitting safeties, John Lynch is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, right? What a great career he had with Tampa Bay and then on to Denver. But John Lynch in high school threw in the 90s, and he drilled me in the back. And another guy, Kyle Seabach, hit me in the back. He played, I think, in the Mariners organization. 92, 93 getting hit, it hurts. It really hurts. And you got to, wear it going down to first base. It's like, oh, my God, it hurts. 101? Couldn't even tell you. I don't even know. It's like we need to get a neurologist. Maybe that's what we should do. We should book somehow, some way. I think I can get us one. I got a few friends in the medical industry. To get a neurologist to tell us how much time does the human brain, the eyes got to see it, the human brain's got to figure out what the hell's going on to then tell you to swing. How much time is it? 0.00000 milliseconds or whatever it is. do you have to decide whether to swing or not on a ball going 103 miles an hour? Because remember, Mason Miller is what, 6'4", 6'5"?
I think he's 6'5".
He's a big dude. So by the time Mason Miller comes down the hill, where's my baseball? Hold on, everybody. Hold on. By the time Mason Miller comes down the hill, Plants comes down and releases the ball. That's not 60 feet, 6 inches. That's 52-ish, whatever, feet away. So you have 0 time to figure it out. Do I swing or not? Forget hitting it. Just, do I swing or not? I mean, it's almost like he starts coming down the mountain. He's about to release it. It's like, swing now. I mean, it's crazy. I would love to talk to a neurologist about how the human brain functions, because that's really where we're going to go next in professional sports, because we've got the body figured out, right? Like we've figured out how to throw this harder and spin it more. We now just can't figure out how to keep you healthy. But really, the next frontier, especially for like hitters, is, and they do it a lot with like quarterbacks and stuff, is how do we register and decipher everything that's going on? Like quarterbacks, they've got to line up. They got to know everything that their guys are doing. Then they got to read the defense. They got multiple plays that are called. The defense is trying to disguise what they're doing. You got to figure out what play I'm going to call. There's a lot of stuff going on. Then when the ball hikes, you got to remember you've got the biggest, strongest men in the world trying to knock your ass out. And while they're trying to knock you out, you have to decide, where am I going to throw this football? You're dealing with a lot of stuff when you're an NFL quarterback. How do you register all that information? How does your computer, your brain, take all that data in and make quality decisions? Because you don't know. You don't know if a guy's going to be able to do that. Remember, once again, you've got a bunch of big humans trying to knock you out at the same time that you're trying to decipher all that information. So what about baseball? I'm standing up there at the plate. This guy's throwing a ball at 100-something miles an hour. If this hit me, it could be life-altering. If you get hit in the face with 100-something, it can be life-altering. It can change. I mean, it's scary. It's intimidation. And yet you got to try and hit it. And how much time do you have to hit it? Because you literally have 0.00000, whatever it is, to figure out, do I even swing or not, let alone put the barrel on it. Crazy.
Yeah, and there's not many guys that are throwing as hard as Mason is. What was it? He throws 42 times, and the rest of the league is like 36 or 37.
It is 42 times he has thrown it, 101 plus. The rest of the league combined is just 36. But, I mean, does it really matter if it's 101 or 100?
See, I don't know. I've never been hit by 100 or 101, so I couldn't tell you the difference.
I got to think, if you got hit square in the back, if this hard baseball hits you right here at 101 or 100 or at 99, it's going to hurt.
Yeah, I'd probably wilt like Roger Dorn does in Major League.
I don't think you're going to be like, oh, that was only 97. No, it's going to hurt. It's amazing. It really is. And Mason Miller's story can be an inspiration to someone like my daughter, and can be because it's scary. This is a disease that you're going to have to manage for the rest of your life. My mother-in-law, who recently passed away, was a brittle diabetic. She dealt with it her entire life. They didn't have Dexcoms, and they didn't have all this information, and they didn't have the technology. You can't follow, like I can follow my daughter's blood sugar on my phone at any time. My mother-in-law didn't have that. And all the diabetics out there, type 1 diabetics, didn't have that. Your pancreas is failing or has completely failed and doesn't make insulin anymore. And it's scary. And I talked to Sam Fold about it at the winter meetings. Sam Fold, our old outfielder, little Sam Fold out of Stanford, who played for the Athletics. He had a special relationship with Bob Melvin. Bob Melvin could tell when Sam was going low, because Bob Melvin has dealt with his daughter all these years being a diabetic. Yeah, there's stories where Bob Melvin would tell Sam Fold, check your blood sugar. We had no idea that was going on. Bob Melvin was one of the first guys I contacted when my daughter was diagnosed because I know Bob had gone through it. And the A's were, once again, you had people ask, why do you love the A's? Why do you love working for the A's? Because when you know what hits the fan, this organization is behind you. And I remember people rallied around. But for Mason Miller, it's an awesome story. It's just not the fastball. It's the story. And he's such a good dude. And watching him on MLB Network today, you see that. You see what a good guy he is, right? And I understand, you may want to start again. But is he where is he more valuable?
I think we might have something here with him in the back end of the old bullpen.
Well, where is he more valuable? Until you want to go back to the way baseball used to be, where is he more valuable? In a 7-game series, where is Mason Miller more valuable? 7-game series.
If we're going off of recency bias, I would play and say that he's better off as the 9th inning guy coming and throwing 103. And only having to face 3 guys and throw 14 pitches on Monday. And realistically, he'd be available for the next day if you only threw 14 pitches, but obviously where there's a different philosophy on how you're handling it. Perfect example with this, and I told you about this right before we came on the air. AJ Puck on the injured list again, and he's going back to the bullpen because he could not make it as a starter. But the A's started it, and then the Marlins continued it. He was pretty consistent out of the bullpen. There are some guys that just can't stay healthy enough in the rotation, and they're better in the back end of the bullpen. Andrew Miller was he's one of the first guys that we saw that happen to. Josh Hader's another one. Now we're seeing it with Mason Miller, and I think that the value for him, if you want to keep him healthy and on the field and helping you win games, the spot might be the 9th inning for him. Because I don't think we're going to see him go and get 6-out saves, which I know he has a starter's mentality, but I think if you want to keep him healthy, I think 3 outs is what we're going to see him pitch, and not every single day or back-to-back days right now.
If I had to say to you, it wouldn't be what year were you born?
88.
Okay. Greatest run of a starting pitcher in the history of baseball.
Like, define run, like how long?
In a span of around 2 years.
It's hard to top what Pedro Martinez did in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Not even close.
Who else was pretty good? Jake Arrieta had a couple good years there. He was pretty solid. Hershiser in the 80s.
Oral Hershiser had the greatest run. 59 consecutive scoreless innings pitched. 59. In 1988, Oral Hershiser had 23 wins, led baseball. Pitched in 267 innings.
His arm didn't fall off?
8 shutouts. Give me Pedro Martinez best year for you your recent biased guys who didn't grow up during this time. Give me Pedro's best. You go to Pedro's best year. And Pedro Martinez is one of the greatest pitchers of all time. No question about it.
We'll use his, let's see. He had a couple good, it's good 97 with Montreal 25. Let's go. We'll use it the year 2000, the year he won his second of back-to-back Cy Youngs. It was his 3rd Cy Young overall.
He won 3 or 4.
He won 3. One with the Expos, and then 2 with the Red Sox back-to-back.
Wow, you'd think you would have won like 5 or 6 for how good he was.
He had a couple. He had 2 second-place finishes, a 3rd and a 4th.
Now, I would say I would give Pedro credit that he pitched in the steroid era. But we also know if you're pitching in the late 80s, you were pitching in the steroid era.
Yeah.
It wasn't as prevalent, but you were pitching in the steroid era in the late 80s. In his best year, Pedro, you have it. What year?
It's so tough because his ERA, we'll use his 99 year. He went 23-4, the 207 ERA, and 313 strikeouts.
Okay, perfect. They both won 23 games. How many innings did he pitch?
213 and a third.
Oral went 267. How many shutouts?
Pedro had only one.
Oral had 8.
That's
complete games.
5.
He had 15 and pitched 59 straight innings without a run scored, which is the record, passing Don Drysdale. I don't think you have ever seen a run by a pitcher like this. And then carried it over. Let's go. What is Pedro's best?
I was going to say his next year.
Postseason.
Oh. I think you were going to say, what was his next year? I was going to say he had a 174 ERA the next year.
Pedro's great. I mean, I'm not. I mean, Pedro's one of the greatest followers. I mean, to me, watching a guy pitch, Pedro's one of the greatest. I mean, to watch Pedro, and Pedro had different arm angles. Pedro had the great changeup. Pedro was throwing breaking balls. He could throw a 12-6. He could throw a tight slider. You call it a sweeper. Hell, he had a frisbee that he would throw up there from 3/4 that big. He would start at your. Pedro was a genius.
Well, his Expo season where he won the Cy Young, his first one at 25, he had 13 complete games that year.
Pedro was bad at. But I'm going to go 1988.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll use Pedro's 99.
1988. What do you got?
Pedro that year in 1999, he won 2 playoff games.
All right.
He won one against Cleveland, one against the Yankees.
All right. What was his ERA?
Let's see if it'll even do it for me. Because his career postseason ERA is 3.46 throughout his entire career.
Well, let me give you Orals.
Yeah.
So Oral Hershiser would pitch against the New York Mets in 1988 in the NLCS. He would pitch in 4 games. Start 3 of them. 24 2/3 innings. He was 1-0 with a 1.09 ERA. 4 of the 7 games he pitched in 3 starts to get them to the World Series.
Pedro only pitched in 17 innings. It was 2 starts and 1 appearance. No runs allowed by Pedro.
Now he goes to the World Series against the A's. Oral Hershiser goes 2-0. He is your World Series MVP.
It's a great run.
So I'll ask you again. What's the greatest run of a starting pitcher?
Well, Oral, but because you told me that I can't use my lifetime. Because my lifetime,
He is your lifetime, 1988.
Nope, I was born after that World Series, so technically I wasn't alive.
See? Baseball history. And you can't say this guy wasn't pitching against guys on steroids. Because there were guys on steroids.
Well, I mean, he did play the A's in '88.
So my whole point with that is, Mason Miller's never going to be that guy, right? Another great. I'll give you 3 more. 2 with Arizona. That'd be Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling. I guess you go Curt Schilling in Boston too. But that was the bloody sock. I'm taking the ball a ton in the postseason. Doesn't matter how much rest, I'm taking the ball. The other's Madison Bumgarner. I mean, you're talking about guys that as starting pitchers are affecting 7-game series. Oral Hershiser pitched 4 times in the NLCS against the Mets in 7 games, and 3 of them were starts. I'm dramatically affecting this series. That World Series against the A's, for you older A's fans, you remember, it's Oral Hershiser. You're doomed. He was unhittable. Mason Miller's never going to be that guy because Mason Miller's the guy that if he goes out as a starter, you go, is he all right? How's he feeling? You okay? So my question is, in a 7-game series, where does Mason Miller help you and factor in more for wins? There's no question it's out of the bullpen. You need 4. I mean, hopefully once he gets this routine down, and he gets everything down, if you got to win 4 games in a 7-game series, he's got to factor in all 4 of those games. There's no way he does that as a starting pitcher.
No, and I know we've seen it more recently with teams using starting pitchers towards the end of the game. The Nationals did it with Strasburg and guys like that. But yeah, he's, my opinion, just like yours. I share the same sentiment. He's better off coming out of the bullpen for you in the series.
I think it's a great comp to Jason Isringhausen. Right? Jason Isringhausen cannot make it, can't stay healthy as a starter, comes to Oakland, figures it out, ends up also in St. Louis. He's now in the Cardinals Hall of Fame. I mean, Jason Isringhausen turned his career around pitching for the A's as a closer. And you know what? By the way, you can make a lot in today's world. You can make a lot. Mason Miller keeps doing this and stays healthy. He can make a lot of money. Ask Edwin Diaz.
Josh Hader.
Josh Hader.
They are the two highest.
I mean, I don't think Mariano Rivera or Trevor Hoffman are going broke anytime soon.
I don't think so either.
Right? I mean, in today's market, you can make a lot of money. You got value. Every year we start devaluing the starting pitcher and valuing the relief pitcher. Man, if you're the guy throwing 101 miles an hour, you can make a lot of money. And that's kind of the thing too about front offices. I mean, that's something that we're starting to see the change. Like, hey, you got to pay these guys. If you're going to value the bullpen so much, man, you got to pay these guys. So Mason Miller, man, you're on a good track. Stay where you are. Like A's got that lead today, bring Mason Miller in, bang! That's 2 saves against the Yankees. Only pitch him in games. Like if the A's aren't winning today, I only want to see him. I only want to see him in wins or games that matter. Don't tell me about, he's don't want him to get rusty.
If we found a guy that could pitch the 7th inning that threw hard like Ursig and Miller, we could have a back end of the bullpen as the team grows and gets better, kind of like what the Royals had with, who was it? Holland, Herrera, and Wade Davis.
Yeah.
Those guys threw hard, and they were just, I mean, you knew the game was over. Your pitcher only had to go 6 innings. Well, for us, they would only go 5. Finally got pitch a 6, and 7, 8, 9, good luck.
You only got to go 4.
I mean, the major league average right now is like 5.
Oh man, can you imagine? Like you get back to the clubhouse, you got your thing out, you're on ice, you're drinking beer. I had that full 4 innings. I got to hey, Mason Miller, keep doing you, man. It's a great story. It's an absolute great story, and I'm so glad he's getting the love. Right? He's getting the love, and he's getting the love from MLB Network. This appearance, it may seem like we're overblowing it. We're not. Every clubhouse today, tomorrow, because they'll recycle this Mason Miller thing tomorrow too. So you're going to be seeing Mason like tonight when I'm sitting outside smoking a cigar watching Quick Pitch. I guarantee they'll have Mason Miller stuff up. It puts you on the map. That's why it's important to go to New York and play well.
And if you want to,
God knows your Yankeeography Yankee honk yesterday. You showed your love for the Yankees.
Well, 2 things. I'll get to the second one and I'll go with the first part. If you want to watch the full thing, it's on our YouTube page, youtube.com/athletics.
Go to our YouTube page, like and subscribe.
Yep, and you can watch Mason Miller on there. I think you can watch JJ Bleday when he was on High Heat the other day with Alana Rizzo. And number 2, we did a thing because this ties in going into Brian Sabean. We talked about executives being in the Hall of Fame. This is on me. I owned it last night when I got home and I was looking. I forgot Brian Cashman for executives to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, who did you have?
It was Sandy Alderson, Theo Epstein, Billy Beane, Brian Sabean. You got to have Brian Cashman.
Oh, well, you're a Yankee honk. You got to put in Cashman.
God, Yankee Red Sox. I mean, there's. But yeah, Cashman should be definitely. I mean, he won 4 World Series, right? 99, 98, 99, 2000, and 2009. 2009, yeah. So 4.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say Brian Cashman is going to go into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll be okay.
I mean, Bean was the longest tenured by just a little bit. He is now the longest tenured. I mean, he is having a tenure for the Yankees. That's insane. And he doesn't look to be leaving the job anytime soon. I mean, Brian Cashman's been running the Yankees since 1998. Think about everything in your life that has happened since 1998. He's been in charge of the Yankees. That is an extremely long time to run a professional franchise, let alone the New York Yankees. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, football, basketball, hockey, whatever. To be at the two jobs you'll see guys a lot is coaching, right? In college, you can see a Bobby Bowden, a guy that's just there forever. A basketball coach who's there forever.
Coach K.
Well, we just saw Tara at Stanford. I mean, you can see these coaches, they're there forever, right? But in the pros, to have somebody in charge of a franchise for that long, since 1998, my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, because if you even think about other sports, I mean, basketball, I mean, Bob Myers is not the GM of the Warriors anymore. I mean, there's
no one even like.
I mean, the only guy I can think of in basketball is R.C. Buford, who's been running the Spurs forever. But that's about
what's his name? What's his name? Ran the Clippers forever for Donald Sterling. God. Come on, he's a Hall of Famer.
I'm not sure. Blanking on it. They got a lot of new guys in there.
New guys, come on, bro. Come on.
Clippers.
They
weren't winning it. They weren't winning anything, so I didn't worry about them.
Yeah, but he ran them for years. They have a list of Clipper GMs. I should know this. It's just sad that I do not know. I can't remember his name, but he's an all-time great. It was a Laker.
Elgin
Baylor. How long did he run the Clippers for?
21 years.
21 years, but that's still not even close to Cashman. Cashman's, my God.
25 year? 25 plus now? How long is, let's see, R.C. Buford has been running the Spurs?
How long did Branch Rickey run the Dodgers?
Oh, geez. I'd have to look. Hold on. When was R.C. Buford hired? R.C. Buford was hired as the GM of the Spurs. Assistant general. He's been the general manager since 2002 of the Spurs. So 20 plus years for R.C. Buford.
All right, Branch Rickey ran the Dodgers not as long as you think. He ran the Dodgers from 43 to 50. I mean, of course, you remember him with the St. Louis Browns in 1913. But then he was he went Browns, Cardinals, Dodgers, Pirates.
Yeah. Pirates at the very end, right?
1950. He didn't run the Dodgers that long. I mean, Brian Cashman could be having the greatest run of a baseball executive of all time.
You could just say executive of all time.
I mean, he's only won 4? That's not right?
He was hired in 98 as GM, right? So
98, 99, 2000. They lost in 01. They
lost in 03.
And then they won
in 09.
So he's won 4.
Yeah.
Branch Rickey won 4.
Theo's won 3.
But there wasn't. But he won with the Cardinals.
Right? Theo won 3, right? 2 with the Red Sox, 1 with the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sabean won 3.
That's what I'm saying. Brian Sabean. Hard to say Brian Sabean. Let's get to Sabes. Have a lot. Can I tell my quick story? So early in my career, I'm working at KMBR. And I was with Gary Radich in the morning. Gary, they're going to move out of mornings. And they brought this guy, John London, in, who had been at KMEL for many years. For you older KMEL listeners, you'll remember John London. He was number 1. Then he went to Los Angeles. He was number 1 and had some issues or whatever. And then he comes back and KMBR brings him. And it was the John London Not Just Sports Show. And they sent us down to spring training. I'm the sports guy on a show that's not about sports. And it's really young in my career. And I remember we're at Giant spring training, and Brian Sabean's going to come up for the morning show. And I'm thinking, and I know Sabean, no nonsense, old school baseball guy. And I also know this guy I'm working with, John London. This is going to be interesting. So here we are at Scottsdale Stadium. It's dark out because it's the morning show, right, on KMBR. So it's dark out. It's early, and here comes Brian Sabean. And I remember the look Brian Sabean gave me, and I was like, welcome to the morning zoo, my friend. Sabean was cool, but you could just tell like this was not going to be a regular thing, right? It was not going to be. I'll never forget the look on Sabean's face. I cannot believe I got to do this. Brian Sabean. I have a lot of respect for him. I do think Brian Sabean is going to be a baseball Hall of Famer. But right now, this year, he is going into Bischoff. He's going into the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. What a Hall of Fame it is. Patrick Marleau from the Sharks. The great John Taylor is one of the great receivers of all time. Jenny Thompson was a great swimmer. Let's see who else.
Is that Wando? Wando's going in. Wow.
Yeah. I have no idea who Paul Couillard is.
Yeah, no.
He's a sailor. Congratulations to him. Everybody knows Buster Posey. Everybody knows Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis is one of the great American sports stories.
Yeah.
What he came from and the type of player, and just Pat, read up on Patrick Willis's life. It's a great. Andre Ward, another great story. I mean, that's the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. I mean, it's the greatest athletes in sports.
The glove.
The Gary Payton, the glove. What a career he had. All right. Brian Sabean going into the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. We're going to talk some about his career. We'll bring in some Billy Beane and that era of great baseball, A's and Giants. Here is the newest member of the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live, he's truly a Bay Area baseball legend, a career absolutely unbelievable. He's going into the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame, led the Giants to 3 championships, but his tenure with the Giants, so much success. The great Brian Sabean joins us. Sabes, thank you so much for taking the time today, and congratulations on this wonderful honor.
I really appreciate it. It's amazing to think that I'm going to be in such esteemed company with all the great teams and great players that have come through the Bay Area. It's certainly humbling.
Yeah, I mean, you think of, we're talking about Olympians, NFL, college, NBA, some of the greatest athletes in the history of sports are in this Hall of Fame. And I just think back to when I started my career. I started at KMBR in 1996. It's when you kind of come rolling in. And I'll never forget when you made the Matt Williams trade, everybody freaked out. Did you ever think back then, man, I could be able to be a Bay Area Sports Hall of Famer?
Well, the irony was both Matt and Barry were making half our payroll. So unfortunately, we had to make a bold move, which he did. And, you know, I guess the blowback was understandable because Matt was, you know, brought up in the organization, fan favorite, and it was just the nature of the beast.
You know, when you think about your time with the Giants, you know, everybody obviously is going to gravitate to the 3 championships, but I do remember that time where you came in, you made that trade with Cleveland. This thing turned around pretty quick, and pretty much from 97 to 04, you had such great success. You got the team to the World Series against the Angels. First time we'd ever seen 2 wild card teams play in the World Series. So many playoff runs. Then you win the 3 World Series. Have you had time since being in San Francisco to really sit back and reflect on how good your run was with the Giants overall?
Well, I said this earlier today in another interview that, you know, looking back, the amazing thing is, first and foremost, the 3 managers, Dusty, Felipe, and Boch, and 2 of them are going to the Hall of Fame. And then, you know, our franchise players being Barry and Buster going to the Hall of Fame. But, you know, those first 8 years, we either finished first or second in the division. And, you know, we're still not over, losing Game 7 of the 2002 World Series, but that set the stage for future success. And to be part of a rebirth, going from worst to first, from 96 to 97, and then got in that window where we probably should have won one until, you know, we had a little bit of a timeout there and didn't go back to the playoffs until 2010. The memories are mostly about the people, not so much the places and the series themselves, but each team, as you know, had their own individual greatness. And also what I said earlier, one of my favorite teams of all time is that '97 team, because that set the stage for the hard reset that the organization was going through to go from a second division organization to a first division operation.
Yeah, and in the process, before you know it, here came Pac-Bell Park, and it completely all changed. You know, we've had Ned Coletti a lot on this program, Bobby Evans also, and both of them will say when they talk about you and, you know, the World Series and everything, that no matter what, you never lost that scout at heart. You've always been a scout. You were always true to that. And so many times we think about executives, how things change in their lives, and all of a sudden you're managing people and you're managing an organization. But talk about how you never lost that scout in you.
Well, you know where I got lucky? I started as a college coach at the University of Tampa, and I became the head coach for 2 years before I took a job with the Yankees as the area scout in Florida, and one thing led to another. And April 1st of 1986, I went into the front office with the Yankees. So I was, on a track career-wise to be scouting-centric. I got very lucky to be an assistant general manager in both the Yankee organization and then the first couple years with the Giants, but I also was vice president of player development and scouting in both organizations. So, scouting's a big part of baseball. It really is a constant evaluation of, your players, your place and time as an organization, the window you're in, who's ready, who's not, who needs to be traded, who needs to be untouchable. And, therein, I learned from the great ones. I mean, we had Gene Michael in New York. And, of course, I teamed up with Dick Tidrow, probably the best pitching guy at that time or during his tenure, not only with our organization, but in all of baseball. So I'm really appreciative of the relationships and the type of staff that we put together, the kitchen cabinet, what drove our decisions. And it was a fun time because we got everybody involved in the first guess, and then we had to try to make the hard decision and go out on a limb with our decision was, but we also, valued everybody's opinion, and there was a collaboration, and there was a lot of mutual respect, and within that you gain a greater sense of loyalty.
Sometimes you don't know how good you have it until it's gone. And I think about that with Bay Area baseball and all these years, in all these different sports, we see general managers and now everybody's got fancy titles, VPs of this and everything. But the leaders of a franchise in all these different sports, it turns over so fast. To think how lucky we were in the Bay Area to have you and Billy Beane at the head of these two franchises and all the success that the Giants had and the A's had. Just go back in that time, because I know you've known Billy for a long time. What was that like from your perspective, what you guys were doing? Moneyball was starting, a book was written, a movie, A's were having success. Just take us back in that time and your relationship with Billy Beane.
Well, I think the irony, if you looked at the two organizations on balance, we probably were overachieving against the field from year to year. And of course, our life changed, as you mentioned, once we get into the new ballpark. I think what's interesting, I don't know that either organization perhaps got enough credit because of being on the West Coast. And as you know, this sport tends to be East Coast centric. But it was a special place in time. And I think both of us look back at it fondly. We weren't, back when this all started, involved in the rivalry of interleague play so much as paying attention to, and respecting what each organization was able to do under tough circumstances.
There's a lot of people who have the debate of who the greatest player is of all time. And there's quite a few guys out there. I just know, for me watching baseball, I've never seen anybody like Barry Bonds. From Pittsburgh to San Francisco, Barry Bonds, the best player I've ever seen. Obviously, dealing with Barry, he wasn't always easy to deal with. It's just a reality. But, being a scout at heart, being around this game all these years, building championship teams, When you think back of your relationship with Barry Bonds and being around Barry Bonds, what do you think about your time with him, who truly is one of the greats of all time?
Well, first and foremost, I think you have to realize that his foundation of greatness in baseball really was the result of being an elite athlete. He probably could have played almost any sport at the highest level. And as we all know, he really had put himself on the map in Pittsburgh and was a 5-2 player and a budding superstar before the Giants was, lucky enough to sign him. I found that Barry respectively needed space. He was very good at doing his own thing to get ready, not only for the season, but, just his daily routine. And we all respected that. Like any superstar, you're facing different challenges on a day-to-day basis. That I'm sure it wasn't easy being him, or it wasn't easy dealing with the stuff that he had to deal with as a result of his stardom. But I would say on balance, our relationship was very good, and it was built on mutual respect.
I think about the World Series teams. It's always hard to explain, why do teams win? Why do different teams win? Because it's not always the same players. Things change. You had a different closer every single year. Obviously, the bullpen, the defense was good. Same manager, pretty much the same staff. But, what do you think truly was the reason why you guys were able to win 3 championships? Because you did do it at times with different guys.
Right. Well, the rosters did change, and that was out of necessity. But our secret sauce was we were pitching centric, and we knew in our ballpark, first Pac Bell, of course, as the surname went, but also in our division, if you could pitch, win the games you were supposed to win, almost like the old Braves, the Bobby Cox Braves, good things were going to happen. And I think by virtue of doing just that, once we got to the playoffs, you had to play baseball and really outpitch us to beat us. And if you look at the teams that we beat in the World Series, we certainly were underdogs. But I think, each one of those teams that we faced, found out in a hurry that, they were going to be up against, a day-to-day fight to win a series. And, we had the great fortune because of that pitching to be very stout or very good on the road, including in the playoffs in the World Series.
Let's end on this. Where you are in your career now. Obviously, you're going into the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. A lot of us think there's a good chance someday you're going to end up in Cooperstown for what you accomplished with the Giants. But as we go back to the scout at heart, and you loved working for the Yankees. I remember talking to you about this years ago in the early 90s. Now you're back with the Yankees. You're back scouting. What's life like for Brian Sabean here?
Well, I'm in a good lane. I'm an executive assistant to Cashman. I was in spring training the whole spring and was part of the roster building. Moved forward in the baseball calendar, have been doing a lot of work, streaming college games and a list that they give to me weekly. I'll start getting out on the road. I'm in New York now, seeing the club. So I'm plugged in all areas. And really, if I had a way to go out, I want to be in a position to mentor, whether that's front office personnel or people in player development or especially scouting, because I think I have a lot to give back. And I had so many experiences under so many great people. And I didn't get here, without a lot of, great home training or people really investing their time in me, and I want to reciprocate.
Well, thank you so much for the time. We truly appreciate it. Congratulations on going into the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. Obviously, with Buster Posey will be a very big deal for you, but continued success, and let's do this again.
Anytime, my friend. Thank you.
Brian Sabean. By the way, he's staying at a hotel in Manhattan with President Biden. And off the air, we were joking with him, and he's like, yeah, it's lockdown here, man. He's going old school today. He's taking the train to Yankee Stadium like he's a kid again. Good for him. Brian, though, an amazing executive, no question about it.
3-time World Series champion, was the GM of the Giants.
But you forget all the success before that, right? I mean, he made that trade. It was Jeff Kent, Vizcaino. Who else was in that trade? There was a couple guys came over from the Indians. Giant fans were you're trading Matt Williams, right? But it ended up being great because look how good Kent was.
Yeah, won MVP with the Giants.
Vizcaino was a good player, but it turned the Giants around. Next, they're in the playoffs in '97. Then everybody loved him. It's funny how much that can switch. All right, coming up next, is he joining us from the NBC compound?
I would assume so because pregame's at 3:30 for them. So I would assume so. He's not in the the weeds or the bushes usually when we get him. So
now he's not putting makeup on when he's in the weeds.
This is the first time we've had Shooty in a while. Usually he just randomly joined Johnny in the radio booth in Arizona.
The great Shooty Babitt will join us next right here on A's Cast Live.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Whether it's a midweek trip to the ballpark to catch a game or a weekend of baseball for the family, grab your tickets for an A's game this season. Secure your seats today for all the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on all the things happening this season.
Throws and set. It's a drive into center. It's deep, and Straw is back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
So grab yours now at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, step up to the plate with Xfinity Internet. Get the fastest speeds and low-lag streaming for an incredible viewing experience that knocks it out of the park. And you'll have a consistent connection with reduced buffering and freezing, so you can stay in all the action inning after inning. When it's game time, make sure to catch it all with internet that's powerful and reliable. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Many factors affect speed. For factors affecting speed, visit xfinity.com/network management.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
This is Chris Townsend. I'm proud to announce our year 2 partnership with Link Soul. They've changed my wardrobe, and they can do the same for you. And right now, their spring collection is fabulous. Natural fabrics and versatile styles, perfect for this time of the year. And they want to introduce their performance line for golf, premium for on-course apparel design, and to keep you cool and dry. Check it all out, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com. Remember, look good, play good.
With more sunshine returning, it's time to get outside and make the most of what Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Like 27 championship caliber holes tucked in the beautiful hills of San Jose. And take advantage of their amazing Bay Area views for your next special event. It's all for you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club, an award-winning venue designed to peacefully take you away from the bustle of Silicon Valley. Go to cinnabarhills.com. That's cinnabarhills.com.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
You deserve extra. Extra Mile is where you get it. You don't just deserve breakfast. You deserve extra fresh Mile 1 coffee just the way you like it. You deserve more than a quick bite. You deserve an extra satisfying array of hot foods, extra good snacks, and fountain drinks that help you go the extra mile. Plus, with Extra Mile rewards, you can earn free stuff. Visit Extra Mile at select Chevron and Texaco locations. See program terms and conditions for details.
Streaming from the studio, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
I know one thing. You don't got to put makeup on when you're in the bushes and you're out scouting. That's when life changes for the great Shooty Babitt. Joining us from NBC Sports San Francisco, where you will see him later on today on A's pre- and post-game live. The man is the best dressed in television. The man is one of the top scouts in the game. We're lucky to have him. He's fabulous on TV. No matter what he does, he excels. Shooty, how are you, my friend?
Except I'm the number 2 seed in the group when you and I are playing golf, and that's an issue we're going to have to address during the offseason, big fella. But thank you for having me today.
Every summer's different. You never know. That's why they play the game, Shooty. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be ready for you. All I know is I'm just a public educated non-big leaguer. That's all I am. I'm just trying to survive in this world.
With a PhD, baby.
Hey, Joe Boyle still hasn't balked yet. You know that, right?
Wow, I'm still looking for it. I still haven't seen it. I'm still looking. I haven't seen a replay yet. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Unreal.
And that's what I love talking about just games with you, because you've watched so many games at so many levels. And I just, you can call a travel every single time down in the NBA. You can call a holding on every single call in the NFL. I just, when it was called, I mean, for a guy like Joe Boyle, I don't want to make excuses, but wouldn't you say that was a big part in the game right there? Because Aaron Judge struck out looking. He continues to struggle mightily. You got a good chance right on right versus Stanton coming up next. You get through that clean inning for Joe Boyle. Who knows?
The one thing I don't want to bring to this wonderful show is negativity. I don't want to be considered as an old curmudgeon, but I am a traditionalist. And this is a game played with humans. And I just think when you start making changes to the game, it only exposes more flaws, if you will, because you have such a different way of looking at the game. This is a fast game. It's a fast-paced game. It's played with instinct. If you're sitting up there thinking, it's probably too late. So how you've prepared, how you've practiced, how you've succeeded have gotten you to this level. Now, instinctively, that's what's going to keep you. But if all of a sudden somebody starts telling you, you got to throw it inside this little box, or some guys can stop once or twice, whatever their delivery is, and one guy's kind of varies from his just in a small amount of way, and you call a balk. I mean, come on, man. It's when is enough enough? I mean, this game is so wonderful. It's so pure. But when you start trying to put your hands on it, that's when you poison it. And that's what I see a whole lot of.
We were talking earlier about maybe bringing on a neurologist of what is it like, what is it like for the human brain to have to decipher on whether to swing or not when a guy like Mason Miller is throwing 102, 103. You've seen these guys. I mean, there's plenty of guys in the minor leagues too who throw really hard. You as a former professional hitter, you don't have any time for the brain to tell the body to swing. I mean, when you see that as a scout, how do you look at hitters and go, man, this guy's good at hitting 100 miles an hour? I mean, because it's so hard to understand what it takes to hit something that it's coming at you that fast and at such a close proximity.
I don't think you can teach it for the simple fact that most of us found out if we could hit at 8 or 9 years old. And most of the kids that couldn't hit at 9 or 10 can hit today if they're 40 or 50. And that's probably why they don't like the game that much, because who likes to play baseball that don't like to hit? Because it's so hard. 3 out of 10, I mean, you're an exceptionally great player, probably a Hall of Famer. But it's hard. It's really difficult. And back in the day, we can talk about back in the day opposed to today. There wasn't a bunch of guys that throw as hard as they throw today. But the guys that did throw that hard, you look down the middle, you start a little earlier, you cheat, and you try to stay alive because it's pretty hard to hit that stuff, man. I mean, let's face it, go down to one of the cages and they turn it up to 100 miles an hour. And before the ball come out the machine, it's already hitting that mat back there. Pow, pow, and you don't even see it. Look here, our closer threw one to Judge the other day when they were here at 102. Just like that balk, I still haven't seen it. Yeah. Amazing. He throw them real small ones that you can't see, them things they call BBs and Ps. So when some bright Hall of Famer or hitting guy tells me how to hit 102, I'm going to be the first up in the front room listening at this seminar.
It's like when Tiger Woods says this is how you shoot 62. Okay, I'm listening.
All in.
How do you do that? Who was, when you go back, whether big leagues, minor leagues, who was the guy that you faced that you think was throwing that hard?
Man, oh man. Who did I face? I don't think I faced 100 until when I got to the big leagues and I faced Goose Gossage, and I thought he was just trying to embarrass me. And I don't even know if he was throwing 100. Keep in mind, Towny, back in the day, guys didn't wear helmets. Guys didn't have double ear guards for this type of stuff. So you think if they were throwing 100 then, that guys would have been going up there like that? No way possible, bro. We're in a new era.
Yeah.
And they are throwers. How many guys can you come up there that's throwing 101, 102, and you said, man, this guy's really pitching. He's tuning it down to 94, turning it up to 100. He's pitching. He's feeling his way through. And then they want to know why guys are blowing their arms out. Pitch at the top of the strike zone. We want hitters to chase up in the strike zone. Pitch. Well, now you can't pitch at the top of the strike zone because when they have that automatic strike zone, it's not going to be a strike. So now you got to get it down right into a hitter's swing. So every time you change one thing, you're going to have to change something else. And I'm just so tired of watching pitchers blow their arms out, kill their dreams because some idiot has convinced Major League Baseball and the people that are running it that every guy needs to throw 96, 97 miles an hour, opposed to making sure that every young kid in the minor league have a pamphlet with Greg Maddox's pitcher and the way that he went about pitching and to learn how to pitch. Okay, who's going to pitch? We're going to teach them to throw 150 miles an hour? Well, you just throw until your arm comes off to the plate. I mean, gee, my knees, man. So I don't know. I know I'm old-fashioned. I'll be roadkill in a minute, so they won't have to hear me. It's getting redundant, though, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a physicist. I barely made it out of high school. So when you start talking about all this I do know that girls that throw like this and fast pitch softball, I never hear them hurting their arms. Greg Maddox, 15 gold gloves, 20 years in the major leagues. How about J.P. Sears the other night? Out there dealing. Hair wasn't even wet. Didn't even have sweat. Barely touched 92. That's what I'm impressed about. So you want to make change? Start teaching kids how to pitch.
Yeah, barely out of high school. Weren't you supposed to go to like UCLA or something like that?
I had them tricked. They was going to give me a scholarship, but all they needed to know was I just needed a chance to put that professional uniform on. I was gone. First thing smoking out of Oakland, bro.
I remember, I think it was last year, you were talking about the guy, I think it was a guy with the Minnesota Twins organization who went, that guy can pitch. So it's like when I ask you, you're out on the road and you're watching all these guys, the majority of them, are you seeing just all throwers, or how many guys do you really sit there and watch and go, this guy understands the craft. He knows how to get hitters out.
And, most of the time it's a guy who was drafted low, who doesn't fit the profile, but all you see every year he's climbing up the ladders and you see his walk rate down and his strikeouts up. The contact rate is weak. When you're watching guys, I like to see guys that make hitters look silly. They create soft contact, quick at bats, minimizing their pitches. guys that I know that can survive the fight. I don't want a guy that's coming out throwing haymakers and bolos and hoping to knock somebody out with one punch. I want somebody that can jab you and stick you for the 9 or 15 rounds we're going to be in it, and this guy going to be standing there still throwing them. So the guys that can do it, Towny, they're special, man. And even the great ones. You know, the guy I worked with in New York, Rudy Terrazas, who drafted DeGrom, the big what was the other one? All of those guys. You wouldn't have thought with DeGrom, he's lean, he's wiry, he's strong. You wouldn't think that this guy that could repeat the way that he did would blow out the way that he did. But it's just you're putting so much emphasis on that fastball and the torque on your arm, man. How many of those guys survive over the long haul? You know, Randy Johnson threw 90-something, but it was just natural gas that came out his hand. It wasn't a whole lot of effort. You know, all he did was change the grip on the ball and cut it about 6 or 7 inches. He had a fastball slider, good night. But it was natural gas. So I think as long as you start trying to teach somebody or give somebody something that they weren't naturally gifted with, I think the problem is going to continue. But I just don't know how long you can continue to go, because look how difficult it is to find 2 or 3 guys on your staff that can go 5 or 6 innings every time out. You know, 3 and 4, close the door and bring somebody else in. It's just too hard on the staff. It's too hard on the organization. Continue to find pitching like that.
Making contact. You know, this A's team is averaging over 10 strikeouts a game right now. Contact, quality contact. Is that something that you're seeing a lack of all around the sport and down at the lower levels? Because there just seems to be yes, pitchers are throwing harder, but there seems to be not a whole lot of contact going on.
You know, we could probably have this conversation for a long time, because I think a lot of organizations have different philosophy. Some organizations are big on exit velocity. Homers don't hit ground balls, not bat to ball, if you will. I just think that the players decide who they are. You know, me as a scout, if I'm watching a hitter and a guy is constantly giving it to him and he doesn't make any adjustments, there's a big red flag for me, because how are you just going to continue doing the same thing and let a guy just eat you up like that and not make a change? Choke up, change your feet, widen up, shallow up, get your hands up, try something differently. And the better hitters, they make adjustments. It's plain and simple. It's remarkable. And the ones with the good hand-eye coordination, guys that do not strike out a lot, that find a way to stay in their bat, to extend that bat, foul a bad pitch off, especially the way that we're putting so much emphasis on the difficulties of the umpires right now. Why would I sit up and take something that's on the borderline where I know chances of it being called a strike are probably more probable than it being called a ball? But if we were back how it used to be, when every umpire had a reputation of being a high ball, low ball, give you 2 or 3 inches away from the plate, then each pitcher that took the plate or took the mound that night understood that umpire, and he knew what he would get and what he wouldn't. And it works the same way for a hitter, because if the hitter knows that this umpire is going to call it tight on the inside, or he doesn't call, then you can go and you can prepare, or you can play the way that you prepared, and nobody would have any question. As much as they talked about Eric Gregg, and I talk about him all the time because Tom Glavine used to get him out here, and we knew how terrible he was. Yeah. But you knew he was going to be terrible, okay? And that was plain and simple. And Tom Glavine, who made a living not for throwing the ball inside the box, but on the edges, 1 inch or 2 inches. If they changed the rules today, you think Tom Glavine would be, back then to what they're trying to change him to now, that he would be a Hall of Famer? You think Jamie Moyer would have been able to survive? The pitchers, the guys that pitch the contact and create poor contact because it starts in the zone but ends up out the zone? It's real deep, bro. It is really deep. I tip my hat to all the smart people that are making these changes, because they're going to have to live with the results.
As a scout, if you go to, let's say, name, 30 organizations. You're going to watch their big club. Then you're going to watch their AAA. Then you're going to watch their AA. Then you're going to watch, let's say, their high A. Let's say you go through a couple
The whole
levels.
system.
Will you be able to understand? Like, let's say you have no idea what their strategy, what their game plan is. If you watch at all these levels, will you be able to come away and go, I know exactly what they're trying to teach their players?
Well, first of all, I can't tell you all my secrets on how I find out all my information about what other organizations are doing, because a lot of things that I don't see, I go and ask questions to the people that know. But to answer your question, if you start seeing guys with certain type of at-bats, not swinging early in the count, trying to work the count deep in the count, not being aggressive early on, then these guys are sitting up there. They want these guys to see pitches. They'd like to see them extend their bats to have more quality bats, if you will. Well, in my day, they told me what a quality at bat was. If you get that good fastball, you lean on that bad boy, because if you want to be a good fastball hitter, don't even worry about the curveball. You know what I mean? If you want to learn how to hit the curveball, don't miss the fastball. So a quality at bat for me was hard contact, because once the bat leaves the ball, you got 7 or 8 guys out there trying to catch it. So you can't control where it's going, only where it is when it leaves the bat. So after I go through I've got San Francisco Giants organization, I see them from top to the bottom. Pretty much you can tell, but my job is to find good players. So the ones that are not producing, because I tell you all the time, Towny, this ain't no tri-league. This is a do league. This is professional baseball that are trying to be major league baseballs. So if you're not down there dominating BP, if you ain't down there dominating rookie ball and A ball, no matter how much I want to project on your tools, if you got tools, but you're not a mechanic, bro, it really doesn't matter for me. So I'm a performance scout, because when you're a young man, almost a grown man, when is it going to click? So I'm looking for some consistency. When I go see them the next year, I'm looking for if they've grown up a little bit, if their game is a little enhanced, or are they going backwards? But the player tells you everything. Just sit up there and watch the game. And by the time you've seen them for 5 days and where you are as a professional, you'll understand who that player is.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The guy's the dude. And I remember the first time I ever experienced that, we were playing Cal State Fullerton. And they had this guy who was on Team USA named Phil Nevin. And Phil Nevin showed up at BP. He was the dude. During the game, he was the dude. And he'd show up at our fraternity parties and our parties at San Jose State, and he was the dude. Phil Nevin was the dude, and that's why he was the #1 pick in the draft and had a really good career. There was something about him, Shooty, at BP. He's hitting balls like the sound was different. During the game, everything was it. You can tell the guy who's the guy. You can, right? I mean, at all levels, can't you tell from the time BP till the end of the game who the guy is?
No question. I mean, hitters hit. I mean, you look at the swing, and when you've been around the game as long as I have, unless it's just truly unorthodox and you're still playing, then it's probably a gift. But mechanically, you know what works and what doesn't work, because after a while, they'll find out what you can get to and what you can't. And in this level, in this league, you cannot hide. But you're exactly right, Towny. The dudes show up, you know, and on that note, let young Nevin keep getting at bats. And
yes.
It seems like all he's going to do is keep getting hits, because it's in his DNA, it's in his pedigree. And I guarantee the reason why he is here is because he's hit all his life.
And I apologized on the post-game show, and I apologized on this show. I said, you know what? He's earned the right. I was wrong. Play him every day. As long as he keeps hitting, I have no problem being wrong. And I think you could say the same thing as a scout. Like, if you're wrong, that means someone's doing well, and I'm happy for them. And if someone's doing well, it's helping our A's win. So for me, Nevin's got to be in the lineup every day. I feel the same way about Ruiz. You and I have talked a lot about Ruiz. I was not high on him as a center fielder, but I'm like, hey, not everybody's perfect, but I know this kid can generate runs. I know he's a threat at defenses. I know he can steal bags. Find a spot for him somewhere to play, but he's got to play. If someone came to you, Shooty, and said, how should we utilize this kid on a daily basis, what would be your advice?
Let him play and let him show you what he can do and how he impacts the game. I wouldn't have never got an opportunity to play had I played the way that the game was supposed to be played and how I was supposed to look. The performance on the field speaks for itself, because as long as you keep performing and impacting the game, they start taking more notice of what you do instead of what you cannot do. I've had an opportunity to watch Reeves in the minor leagues for 2 straight years. And the one thing that I did see when he came to the plate, when he was on the field, everybody else's game changed. Because if you're an infielder and an outfielder, catcher, you better get ready. Okay, because if the ball is hit to me, I better not be thinking about what I'm going to do with it. I better not bobble the baseball. I better understand the situation, because this kid plays like he's trying to get somewhere. And the one thing that I've been impressed with him, not only do I have a fondness for the kid because I just can appreciate where he's come from and where he is. I understand the A's have to make decisions based on their philosophy and their theory. And my job is to go identify and look at this kid, evaluate, and report. But the way he has handled himself since they sent him down and brought him back. And one of the best pictures that I've seen last night during the game, when he wasn't in the game, he was right there in Mark Kotze's pocket, watching the game, learning the game, listening to the manager, understanding what's going on the field. The dude has a professional approach for me, and he plays hard every single day. He ain't had X velocity ever in his life. He ain't had a pretty swing ever in his life. But for some reason, he done found himself to the big leagues. And for whatever reason that is, I want to make sure that I can find whatever way possible to maximize those skills.
Off the top of my head, I don't know, Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs, Rod Carew, what was their, Pete Rose, what was their exit velocity?
Man, I played against Rod Carew. I had the distinct pleasure and blessing to see one of the greatest hitters ever. And I was there for a short time. I'm not going to sit up here and say we was friends or had a long career against, but I got a chance to look greatness right into the eye. And they were magicians. Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs. I played against him for the first time in Double-A, and he was a magician then. These dudes can just straight up rake, man. It's just, and all of them, not so much Rod Carew, but the Bible was the tee for him, you know, because the tee sits there and has allowed you to get into your swing, dictate where you want to hit it, understand the position of your body and your hands when you do so. So now when you go to the game, it's no thinking. If he throws in this area and I got to let go, I know where my hands and my position, where my hips got to fire. That's amazing you would say that, Towny, because to go along with that pamphlet for Greg Maddux, I would also have those 3 guys also, because who else you want him to be like? I want him to be like the greatest that ever played. That's who I want him to be like.
All right, I know you got to go. You got to go do TV, and it probably takes you a while to get that suit on because you got so many different layers with that suit. How many reports do you think you've written in your career?
Ooh, wee. Wow.
It's almost like a teacher. When you think about the amount of reports that you wrote.
Well, put it like this. During the season, I guess I do 50 every 10 days. So, wow, I had an answer for you tomorrow, Towny. I told you I barely got out of high school.
About that. I mean, your job, how many years you been a scout?
30 this year.
Okay, so for 30 years, you have been evaluating human beings. You've been evaluating performance. You've been evaluating behavior. You've been then taking it and putting what used to be on paper, now you put it into computers. It is amazing what your job has been following. You've done it for decades, so you've watched these kids change. You watch the behaviors change. You watch the way they're taught. I mean, it's really, you've been a study of mankind. You've been studying young men and baseball players, a study of mankind and sports for a long, long time. It's pretty incredible.
You know, Tony, you tell me things that I never thought of, but the most amazing part of that, tomorrow when I start writing reports again, every single one of them are different. I can't cut and paste for one guy for another guy. Then I couldn't even justify having this job. Every single guy's report is different. So you can't tell all players to play the same way or send the same message because it does not work. That's amazing you said that, bro. I never even thought about it because tomorrow every report I write is going to take 20, 30 minutes, depending on how much I like them. Now, there's some that don't take very long because they don't give you nothing to say. It's the ones that do something, you sit up there and you enjoy writing those. But, man, that's you gave me something to think about, Towny. You really did. That's wow. It's amazing. You amaze me all the time, though. Why should I be surprised? So, man, you're the hardest working man in baseball, bro. What can I say?
I'll leave you with that, my friend. I'll be watching. Well, hey, what color suit? What color suit? What are we getting tonight?
Stay tuned for A's pregame live.
He's the best dressed man in the business. He's the best in the business. See you later, my friend.
Thank you, Towny.
Great Shooty Babitt. There's certain people in life that when you're around them, life is just better. And Shooty Babitt is one of those guys. Whether it's doing this or playing golf with him for 4.5 hours. I love playing golf. Just think, when we play golf, it's like me, it's Korak, it's Shooty, it's Vince, but when you're around Shooty, it's a lot like you, Commander, just a ball of positivity.
I was going to say, I've never been invited to go golfing, so I can't relate to the golfing side of it.
No, but seriously, Shooty, he's great. He's just fun. He's great to be around. He's the kind of guy. There's certain people you want to attract in life, right? There's certain people you want in your life. You want good-natured, smart people in your life. People who are positive. And that's Shooty Babitt. And to think that he only got 1 year in the big leagues, you look at his numbers, Shooty would be our second highest hitter right now. Like if Shooty came up today, super athletic, strong, could hit, Shooty be starting on our team. But Shooty Babitt, what a career he has had. All the different guys drafted, all the different guys he's helped get traded. It's in World Series rings. He's had an unbelievable career. And drop my pen. And he, I'll tell you this, he's fabulous. I hope when he retires, which I think is going to be in the next couple of years, it would be great to have him as the floating analyst amongst all of your platforms, right? Television, radio, streaming, what we're doing, like to have him float. Sometimes he's on the television broadcast. Sometimes he's on, A's Cast / whatever your terrestrial radio is. Like he would, and then be host a show, like be here with us. Shooty would be great in that role. Great in that role.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And plus, don't forget Fantasy Camp as well.
Oh, my God. He is the mayor of Fantasy Camp.
So you can still register, I believe, right now, athletics.com/fantasy.
That's not sold out yet?
Not that I've known, unless I'm running banners that are outdated. But, yeah.
Are you going to play this year?
I wasn't asked. No one wants to see me play. I haven't swung a bat. Well, besides playing beer league softball, I haven't swung a bat since high school. So I don't think anyone wants to see that. I'm not a celebrity like you and Shooty and Dallas, Stu. People aren't paying to come see me and listen to me talk about what their exit velo would be on the balls that they would hit and what their hard hit rate was. People aren't paying to hear that from me. Why hear it from me? You can hear from Dallas.
Wow, you're throwing yourself under the bus like that. I think there's a lot of people who like to see you play.
Ash, our friend from
I'd like to see you play.
I could probably get out there and swing it a little bit still.
They're still trying to get me out to play.
I guess in my defense, I'm still young enough where I could probably do it.
I live right across the street from a park that has 3 baseball fields. We're either having an earthquake or they're working on the street outside.
I think they're working on the street. I
Yeah,
was thinking that too. I'm like, which one is it?
When shaking goes on, it's like we're either having an earthquake. I was live on the air one time when we had one of the Alum Rock earthquakes. All of a sudden, we weren't on video. I think I was doing pregame, and all of a sudden it started going like this. I'm like, we never went off though. We never lost anything. But yeah, I've been on the air during an earthquake.
Are we still shaking, or is it just a reverberation of the?
We've either just had an earthquake, or they're repaving the streets around here. They're either repaving the streets, or we've just had an earthquake.
Well, here's how you find out. You go to X, formerly known as Twitter, and just type in earthquake, and everyone will be like, "Oh my God, earthquake!"
No, did you feel that? Did you feel that? It's like it was a 3.2.
Oh, look, more Mason Miller content. This is now MLB. First thing I see when I get on X, at MLB on X, formerly known as Twitter.
What is he doing?
How do you strike out two of the best hitters in the game? And then it's Mason Miller explaining that.
I blow it by him.
Yeah, 102. The guys don't really throw like that. I mean, that at bat for Juan Soto, he did look uncomfortable.
How do you not? It's 102 miles an hour. I mean, do you realize if he hit you? This is solid, man. Someone hit you with this at 102 miles an hour from 52 feet away? That is a bruise that you will have for weeks. My God, if he hits you in the head, he could flat out knock you out. You'd be in the hospital with a concussion. I mean, he could break your helmet. I mean, it could, like, he hits you in the ear, even though you got the flap here. I mean, that's intimidation. That's true intimidation right there. I mean, you have to think, like, and it's your subconscious that's, telling you to swing. Because you're not up there going, okay, I'm going to swing. I'm going to swing. I mean, you just have to lock in. It's your subconscious says, go. I mean, that's why I'm going to track down. First of all, I'm going to track down a neurologist and try and go through this. And let's explain what is it like. Just not hit Mason Miller. I mean, how many guys do we have that can throw 100 miles an hour? We got Boyle. We got Luis Medina.
Ursig.
We got Ursig. Who else can throw 100?
That's on the team right now. I mean, Felipe was up there, but he's having Tommy John, so we can't put him on there. He was throwing hard. I think those are the guys right now. If I'm thinking of all of our guys, then Jimenez throws like mid-90s.
Yeah, so it's great. We can sit there and say, Mason Miller throws 102. I mean, it's like saying, hey, we were in Arizona. It was 105. Well, today it's going to be 108. Is it really? I mean,
it's a dry heat. I mean,
it was 108. It's 105. Does it matter? It's over 100 degrees. Does it matter if you're throwing 102 or 101 or 100
or 103?
I mean, seriously. At that point, now it's where's the location?
Yeah, because
we've had. I mean, Aroldis Chapman. I mean, who was the dude? Was it the guy with the Reds or who threw 105?
I think it was Chapman or Hunter Green, maybe.
Not Hunter.
No,
Green.
It had to be
a reliever.
It had to been Chapman then, because he was throwing that hard back then.
I mean, 105.
Yeah, I mean, you could throw hard. I mean, here's a really good example of a guy who threw really hard and he couldn't locate, and he became a position player. That'd be the one, Rick Ankiel. Ankiel could throw hard as a lefty.
Oh my God!
But he could not.
Oh my! That you want to talk scary? Can you imagine? Or how about we never got to see? How much time do we got?
About 15 minutes.
So here's a good story. Back when I was doing TV with the Raiders, I did the Jack Del Rio show. So I got to hang out with Jack Del Rio, and Jack Del Rio was a catcher for USC back in the day with Randy Johnson and Mark McGuire. And he talked about just how scary it was for everybody, Randy Johnson at USC. He goes, Randy literally had no idea where it was going. And he said the biggest problem, and it really was the problem for Jack, was Randy was so wild, but was so embarrassed when he would airmail everything that he ended up starting to just release it down into the dirt. Well, if a dude's throwing 97 mile into the dirt, guess who that affects the most?
Catcher.
The catcher. So Jack Del Rio's back there. It's 97, 98, and he's just playing hockey goalie all game long. He said it was miserable catching rain. And then he goes, it was scary as hell for everybody. It was scary for everybody. Scary for the catcher. It's scary for the hitter. You're getting up there and no one knows where it's going. I mean, you're a Pac-10 standout, and you're getting up there, and Randy Johnson's 6'10" at USC, and you're Cal, UCLA, whatever, and you're getting up there as a left-hander, and you're like, this dude really has no idea where it's going.
Yeah.
I mean, how is that not scary? I mean, it's scary for Randy Johnson, too. It's scary for the pitcher because you know you could really hurt somebody, and you don't know where it's going. And that Rick Ankiel there, I mean, you would see Rick Ankiel would release it, go right into the net. I mean, wow.
Then he ended up becoming a pretty decent, for a couple of years, he was a decent outfielder. He had a great arm, so he could throw guys out.
Obviously, if he was able to pitch and be able to hit, I mean, Rick Ankiel was a really good baseball player. He just, the mental side of the game and the mental part really affected him.
He was drafted very high, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a top. He wasn't even the top, probably one of the top prospects.
He was.
And the guy had a career both as a pitcher and a hitter in Major League Baseball.
He was drafted in the second round of the 97 draft.
Couldn't figure it out, so they said, hey, play outfield. So everybody's like, Shohei Ohtani, this guy, what was his best offensive year? He hit some bombs.
Yeah, I'm going to get to it. In his career, he ended up hitting 76 home runs, but his
guy was a failed pitcher and hit 76 home runs in the big leagues. That's pretty amazing.
2008, at age 28, he hit 264, 25 home runs, drove in 71.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
After he was out of baseball essentially for 3 years, or not playing professionally from 2004 until 2007 because he was learning to become a hitter.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. What a fun show today.
Yeah. We still got some time. Do you want to end with something even more fun?
Yes. I'm in fun.
Every team's best 2024 minor league bobblehead was an article on MLB.com a few days ago.
All right. So every team in the minor leagues.
Yeah. So they break down all 30 MLB
teams. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Who you got? Who you got?
Let's start with the American League East. The Blue Jays are giving away a hockey bobblehead. They're AA New Hampshire Fisher Cats. I don't know why that's the best one. Whatever. Okay. The Orioles, an Adley Rutschman, Grayson Rodriguez bobblehead, June 23rd, AA Bowie, Bay Sox.
I like that. That's solid.
It looks like a cool bobblehead. Okay.
And that's the kind of bobblehead that if they go on to have great careers together, it's worth something.
Okay. The Rays, hashtag Dog Dynasty bobbleheads, multiple dates, single A, Charleston River Dogs. Curtis Mead, Carson Williams, and Xavier Isaac are the three guys they're doing. Curtis Mead's not playing in the majors right now for the Rays. Red Sox, Trash Monster bobblehead, July 30th. That's their AA Portland Sea Dogs. That's Portland, Maine.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
It's a trash monster.
Yeah.
It's a trash can monster.
Since the Sea Dogs' inaugural campaign in 94, the Portland club has kept beautiful Haddock Field shining, no doubt, in the parts thanks to the trash monsters that roam the stands.
That is awesome. I wish they could see these. We need to be able to have the visuals.
Oh, actually, we could probably hold on.
The trash monster. I want a trash monster.
Let me try this real quick. We might be able to do the old screen share, which we don't utilize a lot on this program, but we will.
It can be scary. We don't know what you're looking up when you're not here.
Well, it'll be the screen on the browser we're looking at. So it would be, here we go.
Work.
Let me make sure. Let me add it. I think I have to add it to the stage.
Oh,
there we go.
All right, show them the track. Get rid of the cookies. Show them the trash monster.
All right, hold on. Let me get back down to it. There it is.
I love it. I want one.
It's actually really cool. I'm not gonna lie.
I like it. All right, keep going so they can see it.
All right, so Yankees, Anthony Volpe, Valeros bobblehead, June 23rd, AA
You
Somerset.
can have it. You can have it. Oh, he's the next Jeter. He's a Disney prince. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah,
hit your weight.
Yeah, it's not Jeter, so we did get a pretty funny tweet yesterday. Someone said, I thought this was A's Cast, not Jeter Cast, because we were talking about Jeter.
Thank you. And then they said sell.
That was on us promoting when we had Steven Nesbitt on to talk about Mason Miller. Okay, the Guardians, Smokestacks bobblehead May 4th. Okay, that's I get it.
There may be something to that, but yeah.
I might say Akron, known as the rubber capital of the world throughout the 20th century, has an industrial history as rich as out of any other American city.
I did not know that Akron is the rubber capital of the world.
The city's B.F. Goodrich Company's smokestack stemming from a building that's been around in at least part since 1861. Okay.
All right.
Pasquatch, Sasquatch, dual bobblehead. All right. The Royals, Vinny Pasquantino, makes sense.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, that looks really great. That's in Double-A.
Anytime you can have Bigfoot as part of your bobblehead, I'm in.
Yeah, here it is again. People didn't see it. There you
Yeah.
go. Sasquatch.
That is awesome.
That
is awesome.
The Tigers, Jackson Jobe, one of their top pitching prospects, Dan Breaker's bobblehead, June 11th, high A West Michigan Whitecaps.
It's got the waders on.
Yeah,
Okay, I like it. Yeah, that's cool.
Whoa. The what?
They're giving them away?
The Massaging Nun bobblehead, AAA St. Paul Saints. Oh, okay. Wait for it. Their masseuse being, wait for it, a nun, Sister Rosalind Geoffrey, who became a licensed practical nurse in 1968. Okay. Interesting.
Your masseuse is a nun. All right.
Yeah. White Sox.
I'm staying away from that.
Yeah. White Sox Detective Homer bobblehead, June 20th. AAA Charlotte Knights. Can he help find the White Sox offense
scores? Can he find some runs?
They've only been shut out 8 times in 24 games or what? 25. They're 8 now. 3-22 after their last
49ers are trading wide receivers. Oh no.
What are they? Is that confirmed?
No.
Oh, so is it confirmed they're actually trading someone? Angels astronaut racer May bobblehead. What does this have to do? That Space City's Houston. Why are the Angels doing this?
And
Double-A Rocket.
And what's AAA Sugarland's now called? The
Space Cowboys.
Space Cowboys. What are you doing?
Double-A Rocket City Trash Pandas. That is a good. I do like the Trash
Angels
Pandas.
are terrible.
Astros Babe Ruth on a bicycle bobblehead. What? Single A Fayetteville Woodpeckers. What? And a March 1914 exhibition at Fable's Cape Fear Fairgrounds as a member of the spring training bomb Baltimore Orioles of the International League. Babe Ruth hit his first professional home run. Okay. All right. Athletics.
What do we got?
Lawrence Butler bobblehead, June 21st, Double-A Midland. Speaking of Midland, we're trying to get Jacob Wilson on the program tomorrow. He's hitting pretty well down there.
Why not have him in the lineup?
He's only hitting 417 or whatever it is down in Midland. They're playing well. Midland's playing really well. Mariners, Cal Raleigh bobblehead at High A Everett Aqua Sox. Well, there's no picture of it, but
Jacob Wilson could be in the lineup tonight.
Playing short, second or third. The big dumper. It should be something affiliated with the big dumper with Cal Raleigh.
Big toilet seat.
Yeah. Wow. You went there, huh?
You said big dumper. I just say.
All right. Rangers and Evan Carter bobblehead. Okay. I mean, that's cool. Been there for Wyatt Willingford.
Wyatt.
We're going to National League. Braves are giving away Ronald Acuna MVP bobblehead. All 4 organizations, it looks like, in the minor leagues.
He finally went yard after forever.
Jazz Chisholm's Junior bobblehead at AAA Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp for the Marlins.
All right, hold on. Let me look at old Jazz. There is this fascination with this guy. Everybody's got this fascination with this guy. And I'm trying to figure it out.
Good personality.
I'm trying to figure it out. Like, what has he done? I'm looking at his numbers. What has he done other than wear some cool suits on MLB Network that you go, this guy should be getting all this notoriety?
I couldn't answer that question truthfully.
I mean, they have really tried to manufacture this guy into something. And I just go,
he was on the cover of the show last year.
What are we doing here? You got all these great players. You've got great players from all different parts of the world, all different backgrounds. You've got so many great players. And this is the guy? Like, who? And first of all, he plays on a team that you wouldn't want to be promoting the guy from that team anyway, because it's the Marlins.
Yeah.
Out of all 30 teams, someone's pick got to have the Marlins. Got the Marlins?
If I had to pick any Marlin from the last 30 years that I would, or we'll do last 20, that I would promote, it would not be him. It would be either Hanley Ramirez, or would it be Giancarlo, but he was Mike
Stanton.
Then
No, the pitcher who died. The boating.
Oh,
accident.
yeah. Jose Fernandez. He was good, too.
Jose Fernandez. Yeah. Jazz Chisholm, this guy, literally 248, 254, 250, 247. Never double-digit home runs. Most stolen bases ever, 23. I mean, there's nothing that, like, you go, wow, this guy's incredible. He's 26. Right now, he's got 2 home runs. He's at 247. He has a 699 OPS. You would think the way that they have, like, thrown him out there that he's a star player.
Yeah. No, I get it. And he was traded for Zach Allen. Like, they did it like straight up. Those two guys were traded for each other. So not a great year.
I don't get it. We have stars from all parts of the world, we got stars, big stars, small stars, stars of every religion, every color, this is the guy you choose?
Yeah.
You just mentioned Ronald Acuna Jr. He's a star.
Yeah. Speaking of Ronald Acuna Jr.,
Shohei Ohtani, he's a star.
Ronald Acuna Sr. and his brother, Ronald Jr.'s brother, who plays for the Mets, one of their top prospects, they're going away the dual bobblehead. I think it's father-son, it looks like.
Father-son bobblehead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that. That's pretty
cool. So that's
imagine having a bobblehead with your dad. That could be the Nevins.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, we're Nationals, Aaron Barrett bobblehead, July 20th, AA Harrisburg
Are those
Center.
monster bobbleheads?
Yeah, it looks like Strasburg, Brandon Phillips, Matt Stairs, Bryce Harper.
Matt Stairs has a monster.
Cliff Floyd and Vladdy.
Cliff Floyd was part of that interview today with Mason Miller.
Phillies.
Cliff Floyd was a terrific player.
Alec Boehm bobblehead with walk-up song. I don't know what his walk-up song is.
We know how he really feels about Philly deep down. A cheesehead.
Yeah, Joey Weimer. That's pretty good. That's
when in doubt, put a cheesehead on somebody.
And it's a Brewer, so it makes even more sense.
When in doubt.
Cardinals, John Goodman bobblehead. Okay, we'll have to get Alex to get us one of these. That's AA Springfield, where Alex Jensen is now. John Goodman,
but they're not showing what it is.
I guess he's from Missouri and he's a big baseball fan. They're making a bobblehead for him. Okay.
All right.
Cubs, Swoop the Silver Hawk bobblehead. Whatever. Paul Skeens bobblehead for the Pirates in Altoona, but great ballpark. They have a roller coaster in the background. It's a great view. If you're looking for minor league ballparks.
They have a roller coaster at the ballpark?
No, it's like there's an amusement park behind a curved stadium. Reds, Muhammad Ali.
By the way, we have.
Okay, they're going to Muhammad Ali bobblehead.
Anytime you can have Muhammad Ali, I'm in.
I'm just trying to get through this quick because a Squints bobblehead by the Diamondbacks can't go wrong with the Sandlot. Dodgers, Eric Karros and Jared Karros bobblehead. Oh, his son plays for the.
Son plays in the Rockies organization, doesn't he? Or is this his other son?
Jared currently pitching for Class A Advanced Great Lakes. Played for Rancho Cucamonga last year.
So both of Eric Karros' sons are in minor league baseball. Okay.
Giants.
Because I know his one son is a top prospect, isn't he, for the Rockies?
I'd have
Rock
to look.
Pile?
3 different levels of the Giants are giving away a Patrick Bailey bobblehead. Hey, Joey Bart did another home run today.
Oh, boy. Pittsburgh Pirates.
Padres, Miles Morales bobblehead. That's Into the Spider-Verse. Pretty popular amongst kids now. Rockies, bouncing bobblehead pickle. Okay, that's not bad.
See, it should be fun.
Yeah, and
right?
there you go.
Doing a Marvel thing. All right.
So there you go.
Alex Wood has been terrible, to be honest. Alex Wood's got looking at the notes, Alex Wood has allowed 49 base runners in 21 2/3 innings pitched.
That's not good.
Sorry,
was that Captain Obvious?
Do you know what opponents are hitting against Alex Wood this year?
316.
You're not even close.
Oh, too low.
You're not even close.
383.
That's a little high.
359.
They're hitting 359 against him. Wow. Opponent's hitting 359. And he's also hit 5 batters.
Oh, well, we can't even say he's effectively wild.
So this is, at some point, you're looking at every one of these starts has to be big for Alex Wood.
Yes.
Because I remember reading the numbers. Alex Wood was better last year for the Giants coming out of the bullpen than as a starter.
Yeah.
So
yes,
if
was.
I got to flip Kyle Muller, Mitch Spence, but I mean, I can't keep going. You can't, the opponent can't be hitting 360 off you.
No. And you can't keep hitting guys.
If we're going to say we're trying to win games when you pitch because you're a veteran guy, yeah, you better give me a ton of innings, and you can't have him hitting 360. So big start for Alex Wood going up against Nasty Nestor. By the way, Nestor at Yankee Stadium is incredible. I'll have those numbers for you next. Great show today. Shooty Babitt. Stephen Nesbitt from The Athletic on Mason Miller. We had Mason Miller, his appearance today on MLB Network, and really the big get going into the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. One of the great baseball executives of all time, Brian Sabean, stopped by today on A's Cast Live. Really good stuff. Coming up next, Game 4 of the 4-game set between the Athletics and the Yankees right here on A's Cast and the A's Radio Network. Chris Townsend, I'm proud to announce our Year 2 partnership with Link Soul. They've changed my wardrobe, and they can do the same for you. And right now, their spring collection is fabulous. Natural fabrics and versatile styles, perfect for this time of the year. And they want to introduce their performance line for golf, premium for on-course apparel design, and to keep you cool and dry. Check it all out, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com. Remember, look good, play good.
Whether it's a midweek trip to the ballpark to catch a game or a weekend of baseball for the family, grab your tickets for an A's game this season. Secure your seats today for all the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on all the things happening this season.
Rose and Seth. It's a drive into center. It's deep, and Straw is back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
So grab yours now at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, step up to the plate with Xfinity Internet. Get the fastest speeds and low-lag streaming for an incredible viewing experience that knocks it out of the park. And you'll have a consistent connection with reduced buffering and freezing, so you can stay in all the action inning after inning. When it's game time, make sure to catch it all with internet that's powerful and reliable. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Many factors affect speed. For factors affecting speed, visit xfinity.com/network management.
If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the games. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. They have a new spring menu with special dishes and a full bar with new delicious spring cocktails. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland, and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding. Love where you sleep.
Become an A's insider today. Visit athletics.com/newsletter and sign up to receive the latest team highlights, up-to-date news, features, and more, all delivered free to your inbox. That's athletics.com/newsletter.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
This has been a presentation of the Oakland Athletics.